Hi, everyone. It is your girl Shanidra with Let's Dig Deep. Our topic for today is don't be quick to judge. And we're going to start with scripture like always. And the scripture that we'll be reading is from Matthew 7, verses 1 through 5. And it reads, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. 3. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. That is Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. So it says basically, don't be too quick to judge. The same way you judge somebody else, you too will be judged. And basically what it's saying that most people, and it said don't look at the speck in your brother's eyes. So what it's saying is most people that judge somebody else can't even see the same thing that they are judging someone else on is the same problem that they have. They have a big old plank. They have way more issues going on than the person that they judging, but they so quick to judge somebody else. That's why God said the same way you judge them will be the same way you will be judged. You too busy looking at the speck in your brother's eyes and you can't see the big old plank in your own eyes. You sitting here talking about Susie and her child, and you ain't resolved the issues with your own child. You too busy judging others, so don't be too quick to judge, because you too will be judged in the same measure that you judge somebody else. Most of the time, when people judging or what we call it hating, they hating on something that they wish they had or could do. Most of the time, the people that they are judging are doing way better than what they are doing. They may mess up, and here you are quick to judge, and you ain't even fix none of the stuff that you had going on. Did you forget? I mean, there's so many people in the churches that God has delivered. And, now that they have been delivered, they look down on people as if they've never been through anything. And God is sick of it. That's why he talks to the churches in Revelations, because he's sick of the churches judging. He delivered you, and he did not expose you to the public, and he does do the exposure. And honey, just because you ain't mentioning it ain't like don't nobody know. People know your past. They know your past more than they know your present. People remember the negative. So God is saying he's sick of it. Don't be too quick to judge, because the same way you judging Sally Sue is the same way you gonna be judged. The main problem is when people are judging. And what God is saying is, in real terms, is when, you know, you have all these opinions on somebody else and what they doing and how they doing, that you can't even see how your family is falling apart because of you. You can't even see the big plank in your own eyes. You hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. That's exactly what he said. He said that very clearly. You're a hypocrite. You are judging her for the same thing that you need to be fixing in your own life with your own child or with your own issues. But you can't see your issues because you're too busy worried about somebody else's issues and judging them and their issues. You're not helping. You're just too busy judging as if you're perfect. I don't know anybody on this earth that is perfect. I'm not perfect. And that's why I openly express my flaws because just because God has delivered me doesn't mean that I'm supposed to think that I'm better than somebody else or not help somebody else. He delivered you from that and you took it and got prideful and then want to use the Bible. Oh, God is so sick of people using a word to justify their hypocrisy. You're a hypocrite. I have heard people tell me so many stories about how they have been treated at the church and by family and everybody else. And their whole argument is, how's she gonna judge when she got 5 kids by 5 baby daddies and she just now married? But now that she's married and God has delivered her and whoop de woo, and she has the perfect picture, now she thinks she can judge a single mama of one or two because they don't have they're not married to their kid's father. But you have 5 kids at a wedlock and you're judging, you have that big old plank in your eye, but you're judging someone else. They only have one with 2 or 3 kids. And you have 5 different baby daddies with 5 kids. And you just got married. That doesn't make you, God wanted you to help others with after He delivered you. He wanted you to have more compassion, be more understanding, not a hypocrite. That's a hypocrite. Can't nobody take a hypocrite serious because they're looking at you just because you don't tell nobody. They know. That goes with men too. You judging this guy because now he got 6 kids and he ain't even doing nothing. He can't even afford to pay. Because now you on your feet. But what about when you was laid off or when you didn't have a job and you couldn't afford to take care of your kids? You hypocrite. Oh, now you forgot because God has blessed you beyond, and you acting like you did it and that it was all you and you. When God delivered you from that, because you was doing the same thing. You hypocrite. Quit, quit being quick to judge somebody else. Focus on getting the plank out of your own eyes before you judge somebody else. He said that in Matthew, the 7th chapter, verses 1 through 5. He called you a hypocrite. He's sick and tired of these hypocrites. And I'm not just talking about in the church, I'm talking about in family. I've heard some families say, well, I was married and I was married, but you didn't raise your kids. What's the point in being married with kids and neither one of y'all raising the kids? You judging other people that's not married, but you didn't raise your own kids. You never took that plank out of your eye before you started judging somebody else. You didn't raise your children. Some people have been delivered off of drugs. I'm trying to give you as many examples as I can to show you what it looks like when you're judging others and you ain't took it out of your own eyes. He said, don't be too quick because you ain't even took the plank out of your own eyes. Paraphrasing it. People get off drugs and it's like, now that they have came to the God-filled wisdom, they have changed their life, and now they're looking down on all the drug addicts. It's like God just delivered you from this so that you can help others get delivered from this, not for you to start judging and being a hypocrite, because you are a hypocrite because you were once what they are. He didn't tell you to become a hypocrite. He delivered you so that you could help somebody else get away and teach them about God and how God delivered you, not to become a hypocrite, because that's what you are. Just because you are a new creature doesn't mean that you never did that. God delivered you from that and made you a new creature. But that was to help others. This is not about you. This is about following God's purpose. And what God wanted you to do with that is to help other people that may be struggling in whatever you were just delivered from. You will be able to help them. You will be able to understand their mindset. You will be able to really minister to them. But instead, you become a hypocrite and you judge them. That's not of God. That's not following the word. God called you a hypocrite. You can read it yourself. That's a hypocrite. Look up hypocrite. I'm not going to baby feed grown-ups. Look up hypocrite because that's what a hypocrite is. So don't be too quick to judge. As he said in Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. For ye too will be judged. In the same measure that you judge Billy Bob, you will be judged. So keep that in mind before you be quick to judge somebody else. That's all I have for today. Thanks again. Let's dig deep.